Hello everyone, welcome to Film Lens. Today's story is about the terrifying masterpiece horror film, The Wailing. The story follows a police officer named Jong-goo. Although he works as a police officer, Jong-goo is not brave or heroic. He's actually quite clumsy and timid. He lives in a quiet village with his mother, his wife, and his young daughter Hyo-jin. But one night, everything changes. Late at night, Jong-goo receives an emergency call. A murder has just happened at a nearby house. Jong-goo rushes to the location, expecting a simple investigation. But when he arrives, the scene completely shocks him. It wasn't one murder. Two people had been brutally killed, a husband and his wife. Their bodies had been stabbed more than 20 times. But the most disturbing part is not the bodies. The killer is still there, sitting quietly at the crime scene. His name is Jong-goo. His body is covered with strange wounds. His eyes are rolled back, saliva dripping from his mouth. Instead of running away after committing such a brutal crime, he's simply sitting there, almost half asleep. Even stranger, the entire room is filled with burning candles, and the floor is covered in blood. It almost looks like someone had been performing a dark ritual there. But this wasn't the only strange event happening in the village. For the past few days, the entire village had been experiencing bizarre and terrifying incidents. One day, a local hunter named Deok goes deep into the forest for hunting. While walking down a steep hill, he suddenly slips and rolls down the slope. After lying unconscious for some time, he slowly regains consciousness. And that's when he sees something horrifying, not far away. A half-naked man is sitting on the ground. The man has just killed a wild animal, and he's eating the raw flesh, tearing it apart like a savage beast. The hunter freezes in terror, but somehow, the man suddenly senses his presence. Even though Deok tries to hide, the strange man begins walking toward him. His eyes are glowing red, his hands and mouth are covered in fresh blood. The hunter barely manages to escape and runs back to the village. But there is something strange about his memory. He only remembers the moment when the man attacked him. After that, everything is blank. But there is one thing he clearly remembers. That man looked exactly like the mysterious Japanese stranger who recently moved into the village. Soon, the entire village begins whispering about it. They believe the Japanese man is responsible for all the strange events. But Officer Jong-goo refuses to believe these rumors, because according to medical reports, the murderer they arrested had consumed a rare wild mushroom, a hallucinogenic mushroom that grows deep in the forest. Under its influence, the man lost control of his mind and committed the murders. Even the wounds on his body were caused by the poisonous mushroom. For Jong-goo, everything seems logical, but that logic begins to collapse very quickly. One stormy night, while Jong-goo is sitting inside the police station, the electricity suddenly goes out. Outside, thunder roars across the sky. Lightning flashes through the darkness. And suddenly, Jong-goo sees something terrifying. Standing outside the police station door, a completely naked woman, he jumps in fear. But when his partner runs outside to check, there is no one there. The next day, another shocking incident happens. A woman has set her own house on fire. When the police arrive, they find the woman behaving like a mad person. She attacks everyone around her, even the police officers. And while Jong-goo is watching this chaos, he suddenly notices someone standing outside the house, watching them silently. It's the same mysterious Japanese man, the same man the hunter claimed to see eating raw flesh in the forest. And from this moment onward, the peaceful village slowly begins descending into madness. More murders happen, more villagers lose their minds. And slowly, Jong-goo begins to fear something he never believed in before. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't a normal crime. Maybe something truly evil has entered the village, and unfortunately, the next victim of that evil might be his own daughter. No one ever imagines that true horror could reach their own home, but for Jong-goo, that nightmare is about to begin. After the strange incidents in the village, things slowly start getting worse. The number of brutal murders continues to rise, and every victim seems to show the same terrifying symptoms before committing the crimes. Strange rashes on their bodies, violent behavior, and complete loss of sanity. At first, Jong-goo still tries to believe that all of this has some logical explanation, but that belief completely shatters when something horrifying begins happening to his own daughter, Hyo-jin. One day, Jong-goo notices strange red spots appearing all over Hyo-jin's body. At first, he assumes it might be an allergic reaction or some infection, but very soon her behavior begins changing in ways that no normal illness could explain. The once cheerful little girl becomes aggressive and unpredictable. She begins screaming at her parents for no reason. Sometimes she refuses to eat. Other times she eats like a starving animal. Her eyes often look distant, as if someone else is staring through them. One night during dinner, Hyo-jin suddenly throws her food across the table and begins shouting at Jong-goo with terrifying anger. The words she uses are cruel and hateful, far beyond what a child should ever say. Jong-goo and his wife are horrified. Not knowing what else to do, Jong-goo finally begins believing that the rumors in the village might actually be true, that the mysterious Japanese stranger is somehow responsible for all of this. Desperate for answers, Jong-goo and his partner decide to secretly investigate the stranger's house deep in the mountains. When they arrive at the isolated hut, the place looks abandoned. But as they step inside, they begin discovering things that chill them to the bone. The walls are covered with photographs of villagers. Some of the people in those photos are already dead, and among the photos, Jong-goo suddenly finds something that makes his blood run cold, a photograph of his own daughter, Hyo-jin. But that's not the worst part. Inside the house, they also find a secret room filled with strange objects, animal bones, bloody clothes, and ritual items that look like they belong to some kind of dark ceremony. At that moment, the mysterious Japanese man suddenly returns. Terrified, Jong-goo and his partner quickly escape and rush back to the village. Now Jong-goo is completely convinced that the stranger is behind everything. He believes the man is a demon who has been secretly cursing the villagers. And unfortunately, Hyo-jin might already be under his control. With his daughter's life at stake, Jong-goo decides to seek help from a powerful shaman. The shaman arrives at Jong-goo's house and begins performing a violent exorcism ritual to drive the evil spirit out of Hyo-jin's body. The ritual is intense and disturbing. The shaman beats drums, throws objects, and chants strange incantations while Hyo-jin screams in agony. Her body twists and shakes as if something inside her is fighting back. At the same time, far away in the mountains, the Japanese stranger is also performing his own ritual. It almost feels like the two rituals are battling each other across the distance. As the ritual continues, Hyo-jin's suffering becomes unbearable. Seeing his daughter screaming in pain, Jong-goo begins to panic. He suddenly believes the shaman might actually be hurting her instead of helping. So in a moment of desperation, Jong-goo stops the ritual. But the moment he interrupts it, everything goes horribly wrong. Soon after, Hyo-jin's condition becomes even worse. Realizing his mistake, Jong-goo finally decides that the only way to save his daughter is to kill the Japanese stranger. Filled with rage, he gathers a group of villagers and heads to the mountains to confront him. But on the way there, Jong-goo meets a mysterious woman dressed in white. She warns him not to go to the stranger's house. She tells him that the stranger is not the true enemy, and that something far more dangerous is at work. But Jong-goo is too desperate to listen. Ignoring her warning, he continues his journey. When he finally reaches the stranger's house, the place looks empty, but suddenly, Jong-goo sees the man standing in the darkness. The stranger slowly begins transforming. His face changes into something inhuman. His eyes glow with terrifying evil. And in that horrifying moment, Jong-goo realizes the terrible truth. The stranger is not just a human. He is something far worse. A demon. Jong-goo flees the house in terror and rushes back home to save his daughter, but when he arrives, it is already too late. Inside the house lies a scene of pure horror. Hyo-jin has completely lost control, and the remaining members of Jong-goo's family have been brutally murdered. Jong-goo collapses in despair. Everything he tried to prevent has already happened. The demon has won. In the final scene, the Japanese stranger is seen calmly taking photographs of the victims, just like the others before them, as if their suffering is simply another collection for him. And somewhere nearby, the mysterious woman watches silently. As the darkness slowly spreads across the village, the nightmare is far from over. And that is where the story ends. But here's the most disturbing question of all. Was the Japanese stranger truly the demon? Or did Jong-goo's own fear and mistrust allow the real evil to win? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more terrifying movie stories.